Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube, and what we're going to make are Italian cookies. They're actually called spiral cookies that I have made for years. It's actually a recipe, I believe, from my grandmother's. And it's a great tasting cookie. If you are looking for other Italian type desserts or cookies or cakes, please check out my channel. Now, I will no longer place my recipe below my video, so I'm going to try to go through the ingredients and the amounts very clearly, and that you'll be able to write them down if you're interested in giving this recipe a try on these Italian spiral cookies. What we're going to do, though, we're going to first start off and work with our wet ingredients. So you're going to need 4 eggs, and just keep them at room temperature. I'm going to beat one at a time. Now you'll want to beat them till they become like pale yellow or very fluffy, and that's going to take you maybe 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to move it along because of the video, so I won't be beating them quite as long as I would if I wasn't doing this video, okay? I'm going to warn you about the sound because some folks feel the mixer is too loud, so I give you a heads up on that, okay? So let's get started. We're going to put 1 egg at a time, and we want to beat them again till they're very light pale in color and very fluffy. That's the first one. Second, third, and now the fourth. Okay, the next thing that you're going to do is you need granulated sugar. So you need 1 cup of granulated sugar, a little at a time till it's all combined. Again, you'll want to beat that for a few minutes till that it's well put together. You can certainly use your hand mixer for this, or you can do it by hand if you don't have a hand mixer, don't want to use a hand mixer. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put in vanilla, and we're going to put in 1 teaspoon, I'm sorry, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and beat that in. Okay, now the next thing that you'll want to do is you need 3/4 cup of solid shortening, and what I do is I actually melt it and then allow it to cool. And I actually melt it just you can see in this big cup I have, and I put it in my microwave just to melt this. And then I'm going to drizzle this in very slowly, okay? You'll want to do again, spend another 2 or 3 minutes and really beat this that it becomes really light and fluffy, okay? Now we are going to tackle, of course, the dry ingredients, and what you're going to need is 3 cups of all-purpose flour and 3 teaspoons of baking powder. And I'm going to put a little bit of flour and baking powder and try to bake it up in about 3 you'll see in a second what I'm talking about. So 1 cup at a time and 1 teaspoon at a time. As you can see, I just alternated a little bit. My speed was up a little bit too high, so flour went a little bit all over, but that's no big deal. So I'm just going to beat it for a few more minutes. You don't want to overbeat it because you don't want these cookies to be tough. You want them to be very light. You want them to have a texture that is more of a flaky or a soft texture. So I'm going to warn you about the sound and just give it a couple more spins. Okay, I'm going to take the paddle out, get the excess off. And then we'll set this aside over here. And I'm going to scrape down my bowl, and then I'm going to show you what the cookie dough looks like. But I want to get to the bottom and just make sure that everything came together. Okay, and this is what the cookie dough will look like. Let me get a, okay. It's a nice working cookie dough. It's not, you know, super sticky to handle, and it's you know, it's pretty easy to work with. Okay. Then I'm just going to grab a spoon here, and what I try to do is take about a tablespoon. You don't have to be precise or anything, but and a little bit of flour. Now I'm going to put on my countertop. You don't want a lot because you don't want these cookies to be really dense or, you know, really hard. So just, you know, just use the flour when you need it, you know, to kind of be able to move things around and whatever. And then what you want to do is just roll out like a pencil, you know, but a very thick pencil, not a thin diameter pencil, and probably about 5 inches. So you know, if you're, you know, many of us, they're very precise and you want to measure with a measuring tape, then, you know, feel free. I'm going to grab a baking tray because I forgot one. What's nice is you do not have to spray your tray. If you want to use your parchment paper, feel free. I actually just work on the tray. You can, you know, assemble it on your countertop and then just start making that, you know, the rope of the spiral like that, and just tap it on its end. Let's do one more. Again, about a tablespoon. Roll it out to that circumference of a, you know, a fat pencil, about 5 inches. If you can do it on your tray or here, and then just keep spinning it in that spiral like that, or pinwheel if you'd rather call it that. I just see it actually is easier for me to do. I'm so used to doing it on the tray. Okay, let's do one more on the tray. Take a tablespoon out. Now, if you find that it's, you know, difficult to work with, I'm gonna put that one back. You can put your dough in your refrigerator for, you know, 20 minutes or so, and that kind of thing, and it makes it a little easier to set up and that kind of thing. So like that. Just make a nice little spiral out of it. And you'll want to bake these cookies at 375 degrees, and they could take you anywhere from 12 to 15 minutes. So do check them, because again, you don't want to over bake them and you don't want to burn them, you know, that kind of thing. And then of course put them on a cooling tray. And then what I like to do is, let me wash my hands quickly because I'm working with raw dough and raw eggs. Let me dry my hands here. I want to show you what they look like once they're baked up, and then how I do finish them off, okay? Now this is how they do come out once they're baked up. Now I get about 38 cookies at this size, the size that that you saw me roll out, about 5 inches that I made that swirl. Okay, they are going to expand, so you know, give them an inch and a half apart, or 2 inches apart on your cookie tray or pan or whatever, because they are going to, you know, get larger. And this is how they look like once that they're baked up. Again, it was at 375, 12 to 15 minutes. And then they come out a nice golden brown on the bottom. The cookie itself will have a hard finish on the top and on the bottom, okay? And what I like to do is I just take powdered sugar, and you can use milk. If you don't want to use milk, you can just use water to the consistency of how thick or thin that you want it to be, okay? I believe I have like probably a cup and a half of powdered sugar in here, and then again I use milk just to, you know, do it to the consistency that you like it, okay? And then what you'll want to do is, let me grab a piece of, oh, here it is. I usually use my cooling rack, and I put wax paper underneath the cooling rack. But anyway, I just take the cookie and I, you know, dip it in, or you can use your spoon, take the excess off, okay? Now these cookies are delicious on their own, plain. They really are. But they also are really good when you put a little bit of the icing on it, and then I put a little chocolate jimmies on the top. You can use whatever type of jimmies that you want, or colored jimmies, maybe for, you know, a certain occasion or something like that, and then just let them set up till they, you know, till they dry. You can also too color your glaze with food coloring, maybe for a certain occasion or something. I know we actually used to make these a lot of times in colors of pink and blue for baby showers and things like that. Or at Christmas time, you know, your traditional colors at Christmas. So I want to show you though, once they have been dipped in the glaze, and then with the chocolate jimmies, this is how they'll look once they're hardened and finished, okay? Again, you got that beautiful golden brown on the bottom. And what I'd like to do is I actually want to just break one open to talk about the cookie itself. When you do break it open, you're going to see that the inside it's more of a drier cookie. You will bite into it and it'll be a chewy cookie, but you can see, I don't know if you're able to see the flake coming off of it. They're very light, you know, and they have, you know, a chewiness to them, because when I press on them, I don't know if you can see that or not, but when I'm squishing them, you know, they're quite delicate. They really are great tasting cookies, and like I said, you know, if you don't want to dip them in the glaze, they're fantastic alone. They're great tasting cookies alone with a cup of coffee or cup of espresso. They really are great little tasting cookies, and they're relatively pretty easy to make. So I want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. If you're so inclined and you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. If you want to ring the bell or give me a like, that would be fantastic. If you try this recipe and you liked it, leave a comment, because I really like to hear from you. But I also want a reminder for you to please watch me solely on YouTube, because when you write your comments or your questions, if my work is being taken some other place, I get so frustrated to see that I can't answer your question or your comment about the recipe. So please check me out solely and watch me on YouTube. I'd really appreciate it. So once again, I want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake. Be safe and be well. See you soon.